Clubbing. Written by Verrgasm.
Why won't you come with me?
Andrea's voice whined down on the phone in the tone that she always adopted when she wasn't going to get her way.
Come on, please. Everyone else is busy.
Look, I already told you I'm not going to go to another one of your shitty dive clubs. Okay, remember last time when I nearly got my eye gouged out in a mosh pit? I had to take a week off of work.
So what if you got your bell rung for the first time? You really want to die without any scars? Besides, do you have any idea how hard it was to get these tickets? I had to pay some random street guy double just to get us in the door.
Well, what's the big deal about this place? I mean, why is it so exclusive?
Suckshaft.
What?
Suckshaft. They're opening. Headline is some local hick, but Aaron's going to see Suckshaft. It's their first gig in like 10 years or something. How in the fuck have you never heard of Suckshaft?
Andrea, can you please stop saying suckshaft for a minute, okay? Let me think.
Look, are you coming or not? We'll be in and out in 2 hours, Tom. I promise. You'll be no worse off for work tomorrow. Might even have something interesting to say around the water cooler, eh?
Fine. As long as we're staying for the opener.
Great. Pick me up at 6.
I pulled outside of Andrea's house and I find her sitting impatiently on the doorstep. She eagerly bounded over and hopped inside.
Are you as excited as I am?
She asked giddingly, looking at me with her makeup-caked face. She presented her 2 little white tickets and passed one over.
This is gonna be a night to remember.
Yeah, whatever. 2 hours and then I'm going home, alright? So don't fuck around, okay? I put the car in gear and I departed from the pavement. I mean it, Andrea. We can't mess up with this job right now. I can't.
Jeez, you're such a stick in the mud.
She groaned dramatically as her eyes rolled to the back of her head. As we drove slowly down the decrepit streets, which was home of the rundown venue, I was immediately shocked by just how busy it was. A swarm of patrons all wanting to get inside mobbed the sidewalk and spilled over the streets. After a tedious 15 minutes of creeping around, I eventually found a place to squeeze the car into a tiny space 2 streets over. It was freezing, but I gave Andrea my jacket anyways, after catching a few passive burrs as we walked side by side to the club. Man, why didn't you bring your own coat?
Well, I didn't know if we had to park like 100 fucking miles away, did I?
What if it was cold inside? Did you consider that one genius?
We won't be cold for very long.
She shot me a sly wink as she dug into her back pocket and held up a baggie containing 2 tiny pills stamped with a smiling alien.
Roll with me?
I looked into her green, big, pleading puppy dog eyes and found myself unable to say no. That, and it had been a long time since I got my hands on some decent ecstasy. Andrea always got the good X. I'll take half. Remember, I still have to get us home in one piece after this, I said in a defeated voice, but secretly, I was kind of excited for the first time that day.
Yay!
Andrea hopped up and clicked the heels of her Nikes at me.
This is gonna be great.
She pulled out the bag open and bit half of a pill, handing me the other half. Then, without any hesitation, she slammed the other one full down before flashing her tongue at me the way that I imagine they make patients do at mental hospitals after med time. For fuck's sake, Andrea, really? You said 2 hours. In 2 hours' time, you're going to be completely gone. I'll probably have to carry you through the dance floor, prise your fingers off the stage just to get you out the door with me.
A promise is a promise.
She then booped my nose condescendingly the way you might a small child. I always hated when she did that.
When it's over, it's over. I won't hold you back.
I had gotten the pill down quickly, but that bitter taste still permeated the surface of my tongue. and a little on the back of my throat. I really hope not. We rounded over the corner and joined the back of the line, and we found ourselves relieved that it was moving relatively quickly. I stood on my toes and got a decent look at the action up in front. The bouncer wasn't even checking the tickets, really. Just a nod in acknowledgement at whatever random white paper was being presented. This prompted me to check the one that I had in my pocket. It was littered with typos. I held it up to Andrea and she looked at me as if I was from Mars.
What?
You said you paid double for fake tickets.
Yeah? So what? They'll get us in, won't they?
Jesus, Andrea, I swear. 2 hours and then we're leaving, okay? This is gonna be a nightmare to get away from. Look how busy this fucking street is. And it's all because of these fake ticket scalping fucks. The ecstasy had begun to take effect, and I couldn't help but feel a little shame about just how hard half a pill was already kicking my ass. I looked over at Andrea, and for the first time since we joined the key, of which was packed behind us, as we gradually approached the front, boxing us in, she was chewing voraciously at her bottom lip. I put my arm up around her shoulder, reassuring her, and she turned to me with her big wobbly pupils, the vibrant green of her irises almost obscured by them.
We will get in, right? Won't we?
She asked with a sort of desperation that I understood. I'd had a bad X-trip before, when my plans got canceled and I had taken too much, ending up milling around my apartment, hugging pillows and gnawing at my toothbrush. I pictured Andrea disappointingly sitting on her couch while she ferociously stroked her cat, with hardstyle blasting through her TV speakers. Yeah, I think we'll get in, don't worry. She pulled me closer and we embraced. Usually that took an hour or two to clear the overdose, but it had ramped the process. Are you sure you're good to go in here? You shouldn't have done all that all at once.
Oh, yeah.
She clattered at me through clenched teeth. She broke away for a second and yelled at the crowd behind us.
Suckshaft! Woo!
She was met with a rallying cry of about 24 other people who were prematurely wasted. With a pleasant giggle, she took my arm again and snuggled in it, which was a relief because it was so damn cold in the sidewalk. We got close to the front and I whispered into Andrea's ear, "Look, just keep your head down. Don't look at the bouncer. If he sees how fucked up you are, he won't let us in, okay?"
Okie dokie.
"Give me your ticket." I took her ticket and approached the big man at the door, as Andrea's half hid behind me. No words were exchanged, barely even a look. He grabbed our tickets and we went in.
Here's your jacket back.
Andrea thrust my knockoff leather jacket towards me, and I put it back on, knowing that it eventually become a hindrance in the heat. I followed closely behind as we descended the sickly white painted concrete stairwell, already littered with cigarette butts and empty bottles and vomit, possibly from the night before. The music was getting louder as we got closer to the underground set. Thick swaths of bass resonated in the walls and the floor and the ceiling, and I felt myself come alive. The stairs ended after a few turns, and Andrea took my hand and led me into the packed crowd, all moving simultaneously to the beat. I felt a jab in my ribs, but I didn't care. We were somewhere close to the stage, but I couldn't tell where. My vision flickered. I moved with my body as I danced with Andrea, every so often taking an accidental shove from a stranger and giving out a few of my own. That moment, I don't know how long it lasted, but it was the last time that I was ever truly happy. I brushed it off at first, something being shouted that looked back. Looking back, I know it must have been fire. I just didn't want to believe it. Then, when the dance floor broke its rhythm and people began to push us toward the exit, I realized what was happening. Andrea looked into my eyes, and I could not see that she knew it too. That rapturous joy snuffed out by terror when the real world creeps into the fantasies that we use to escape, turning them foul forever. The music was still blaring, but the stage was empty. Smoke trickled out from behind it. Screams began to overtake at the base as people crammed in behind us, all running at the same direction. The lit single-door exitway was near the spot, a few gaps that weren't full of people squeezing through. It was utter chaos. All around us, who'd fallen over, they were stepped on by the scramble. I could hear their bones snapping under the weight of the frantic footfalls and their panicked reactions as they gasped at their last breaths before giving in. Several men and women were actively shoving people back, throwing elbows and punches, with others retaliating and then succumbing to the trampling themselves. We managed to reach the exit door leading to the stairs, but as I squeezed myself through, Andrea's wrists got caught in the doorframe and was shattered by the incoming horde, pushing through the cramped doorway 3 at a time. She screamed, shrieked out, and I was lost. I didn't look back. I was overcome with an unbearable rage. I stood in that doorway and I kicked out hard, knocking out at least a dozen people back into the club, which was now entirely set ablaze by flames engulfed by the stage, rendered near invisible by the thick black smoke. I wasn't giving anything close to a fuck. I jerked my elbows into noses. I yanked back 2 women ahead of me as they tumbled backwards down the stairs into the fiery oblivion below. I kicked and shoved and punched, and I think I even bit a guy at one point. Eventually, until I managed to wriggle through the open door and into the night air as the sirens screeched down the streets toward the scene. I looked back over my shoulder at the carnage as the other escapees of the blaze rushed past me to safety. I did too, except I didn't stop running. I got in my car and I drove home. 53 people died in the club that night. 70 were injured, many in ways that will surely have made their lives a living hell since. Andrea? I'm not sure if Andrea died in the crush or in some fucker's boot, or if the smoke got her or the fire. All I know is that she didn't make it. I hope it was quick. Oh fuck, I hope it was quick. I look back. It's like I can see her lying there with that jammed up door all in her wrist that was all bent backwards with the bones sticking out when she pleaded, while she was begging and pleading the other people to help her. Everyone ignored her. I ignored her. I don't like to think about it. I can't, so I don't. I moved away. Nobody knows I was there, or what I did. I know that I'll never forget it. I know that I will never forgive myself. That was Clubbing, written by Verrgasm.